I've been wanting to play Assassin's Creed Black Flag for ages now, as it was the last mainline game I had to play in the franchise, and after dropping it when I was a kid, I hadn't come back to it until recently. I played the entirety of the game on my handheld gaming devices, and it was a fantastic experience from start to finish, with great performance and optimization that made the whole game really fun to play on the Steam Deck. Today, I want to review the game as a whole, with of course a focus on the experience I personally had on playing the game on a Steam Deck, and whether I would recommend you to do the same on your own Steam Deck. Firstly, we'll talk about the performance I encountered during my experience with the settings I thought were the best overall. The performance of Black Flag on the Steam Deck is pretty great, as would be expected from an older 2013 game. You can pretty much crank all the settings up to high or medium, and for the best experience I would recommend locking this to 40 FPS, which on a handheld like this feels buttery smooth and super enjoyable on all fronts. Even at the max TDP option, you're still getting around 3 hours of battery life, but you can always tweak this and can probably squeeze a great amount more if you want to lock it to 30 FPS or lower the settings in the game itself. The performance in its entirety is great across the board, and the only problem I have is the use of the Ubisoft Connect launcher. I believe the game is also marked as unsupported due to it, and although it should only be a one-time thing, I've noticed that I've had to sign into the launcher before launching the game pretty much every single time I've tried to play the game, which is an absolute hassle, and I don't understand why Ubisoft still does this with their releases on Steam, as it really just taints the entire experience of easily playing the game. Other than that, the experience of this game on the Steam Deck is a great one, and it performs absolutely amazingly. The story of Assassin's Creed Black Flag is probably the main reason I've been wanting to play it for years now. I've heard so much praise about the protagonist, Edward Kenway, and the overall plot being well written, with compelling and engaging side characters. This was pretty much true on all fronts. I won't spoil anything in case some of you still haven't played the game, but the story of this game harkens back to the great writing that Ubisoft was known for in the early Assassin's Creed games, and this is definitely one of the best written protagonists in the franchise, as well as one of the best stories it has to offer, period. The standout to me across the entirety of the story was the setting in the Caribbean, and your role as a pirate in a world that is fighting hard to get rid of them from the earth. I found it super fun traveling to different islands with your crew and ship, and exploring these various jungle havens, small towns, and taverns. The star of the show is definitely the charismatic attributes of the protagonist, Edward Kenway, and he has many great moments throughout the narrative. I really enjoyed the story of this game, and it's one of the best experiences I've ever had with the franchise. It's got a plethora of fantastic side characters, a beautiful and engaging setting, and the protagonist continues to develop to a great degree throughout the pivotal moments of the story, that by the end shape him into a more empathetic and committed assassin to the cause. If you still haven't played this game, I wholeheartedly recommend you do, and the great screen of the Steam Deck paired with the great performance made experiencing the different story moments and characters an extremely cinematic and enjoyable experience in its entirety. As for the gameplay, there's not exactly too much to say that hasn't already been said about this 11-year-old game. The game doesn't contain any of the RPG elements that are now synonymous with the Assassin's Creed franchise, instead having the older combat system, exploration system, and a smaller open world focused on the details rather than a world as large as you can make it for no reason at all. The gameplay consists of 3 main elements: the exploration, the combat and stealth, and the ship. Starting with exploration, the world of Black Flag is beautiful and expansive, with the map being spread out across a bunch of smaller and larger islands in the Caribbean that you must travel to as you journey through the narrative, mainly through the use of your own ship. Within the actual cities and towns themselves, you'll of course be making use of the parkour system, jumping from rooftop to rooftop and blending in the streets to look for your targets and take them down silently. The beauty of the open world is immeasurable and it holds up really well even today, and I had a blast traversing across the open seas and within the alleys and open spaces of the towns on every island. Now for the combat and stealth. Both of these elements are not too different from what came in the series before it. The combat is the counter-focused combat style synonymous with prior entries in the series, and I really enjoyed this combat due to the fantastic takedown animations and the flow you can achieve when you're able to counter and kill one enemy and then sequentially kill all the others in one one swift and clean blow. You can of course change your sword throughout the game to give it a little bit better stats, and the game also allows you to dual wield pistols that you may use to complement you in combat against larger enemies or to take down two enemies in a quick manner. The stealth here is also great, with plenty of haystacks and opportunities to blend in order to get the clean strike on your opponents. In addition, the various stealth oriented tools that you are provided with, such as the sleep and berserk darts, in addition to the smoke bomb, allow you to take advantage of any scenario you are in and get the upper hand in taking down enemies in a quiet fashion. If you're a fan of the old combat and stealth systems in the series, Black Flag may be one of the best examples of that, and I had a blast with every moment of combat and stealth in this game. Lastly, let's talk about the game's ship exploration and combat. The ship is fairly simple to control and utilize, and you'll be on it for a large part of the game to traverse from one island to another, in addition to the fact that many missions will see you utilizing the ship combat in shooting cannonballs, mortar shots, and fire barrels towards your enemies, boarding their ships and taking down all of their crew and their loot for yourself. It's a rather simplistic system, but it's also extremely fun, and the ship sections of the game are definitely a highlight in every mission they are offered in, except the stupid tailing missions, that is. Overall, the gameplay of Black Flag is fantastic and harkens back to the old fashion of the series, which I and many others miss with the newer RPG games. And on the Steam Deck, all of this runs at a beautiful and consistent frame rate, with the game looking absolutely appealing on all fronts. If it wasn't obvious by now, the experience of playing Black Flag on the Steam Deck is a great one, and if you haven't played the game for yourself already or intend to replay it, the Steam Deck is a great way to go about it. The Steam Deck is able to perform greatly in this game, achieving a consistent frame rate, beautiful visuals, and a smooth experience that rivals the experience on modern consoles. Anyway, I hope you all did enjoy today's video. If you did, consider subbing to the channel for more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.